Thanks for joining us on the program. I'm Amarachi Ubani. In the wake of the voluntary repatriation of Nigerian nationals from South Africa, many Nigerians who have registered to return home say the 5 evacuation flights conducted so far have not been enough to meet the growing demand. While some have chosen to leave following recent anti-illegal migration protests, others who have established businesses and contribute to South Africa's economy are weighing the implications their departure could have for trade and investment. Our South Africa correspondent, Innocent Amosa, spoke to Nigerians who have chosen to remain in the country to find out what supports they expect from both the South African and Nigerian governments.
Well, for some, the decision to return comes after weeks of uncertainty following anti-illegal migration protests. Others say they are leaving behind businesses they've spent years building, investments they've made, and jobs they've created in the country. I had a sit down with Dr. Emeka Ugu, who runs a practice in Pretoria. He's married to a South African, of course. He argues that many Nigerian entrepreneurs living in the country have contributed positively to South Africa's economy through trade, investments, transport, and of course other sectors. And he fears that their departure could affect business links between South Africa and Nigeria.
Definitely, yes, it will cause a lot of havoc diplomatically, in terms of business relationship, in terms of interpersonal relationship, socio-political relationship, and far beyond that. You know, remember there are intermarriages also between South Africans and Nigerians. I'm married to a South African. We got married in Nigeria, got married here.
Ugu also warned that the uncertainty could undermine the objectives of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
We are shooting ourselves in the foot, you know, and that shouldn't be. If you go to Europe, for example, you have a Shanghai visa, you can easily go from France to Italy to Germany to call it wherever without inhibition. So they've made it easy for themselves to move very easily amongst themselves and trade amongst themselves.
While the country has maintained that it is enforcing its immigration laws and not targeting any nationality, businessman Chief Romanus Chukwemeka Naji, who has been in South Africa for the past 30 years, hopes both governments will continue working together to protect legitimate businessmen and strengthen economic cooperation.
I think the two parties, the two countries, the two presidents, the two authorities need to sit down and have a round table and dialogue and have a treaty over this.
He says the recent wave of protests have put a strain on foreign business owners.
To be honest with you, Innocent, this has been a big problem. I'm not going to say myself in particular, but it has affected everybody.
To better understand South Africa's immigration laws, I spoke to immigration lawyer.
In general, no, a private citizen cannot ask any other person to produce an identity document to prove their status, their immigration status, just because they suspect that such a person is a foreign national. So the law works in a way that police officers and authorized immigration officers, they're the ones who have the legal powers under the immigration laws to require any other person to produce their identification if they suspect that such a person is a foreign national.
As the debate over migration continues, calls are growing for solutions that balance the rule of law and the protection of human rights. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
Staying with the immigration crisis in South Africa, police have launched an investigation into the death of Congolese boxer Romeo Katompa, who died in a house fire in Johannesburg following social media allegations it may have been a xenophobic attack. Local media report that the fire damaged the house, causing the roof to collapse and destroy belongings, with residents saying they're still struggling to come to terms with the tragedy, while some have urged caution over claims linking the death to xenophobia. Earlier, the building caretaker Jabulani Nolani said firefighters found Katomba's body after realizing he was missing. while preliminary reports indicate that Katompa was inside the house when the fire broke out and was unable to escape. The death of the 35-year-old boxer has sparked widespread reaction after social media posts linked the fire to xenophobia. In the meantime, police say there is no evidence to support those claims while investigations continue.
To me, he was one of a guy who was more to himself. He was so solitary most of his time. So I only found out that he was a boxer, non-international, after his passing, because for me he looked like any ordinary human being because of his lifestyle. He was not flashy, he was just calm, more to himself. We're still waiting for the actual report. So at this point of time, we cannot speculate anything, you know, so because this issue is being handled, is still under investigation, and put it in that way. So, yeah, so we'll hear or see as time goes on. For now, the focus, I think, was more of the funeral and laying him to rest, and then the other things would unfold.
We're in Mauritius now, where Chagos refugees group leader Olivier Bancoult has slammed the slow pace of negotiations over the Chagos archipelago, urging Britain's new government to respect international law as pressure mounts on Prime Minister Andy Burnham. This follows a deadline set by Mauritian Prime Minister Navin Ragulam, who gives Britain until the end of July to resolve the current deadlock. A formal agreement was reached in May 2025 to transfer the island to Mauritius, including a 99-year lease allowing the United States and the United Kingdom to retain their military bases on Diego Garcia. The UK froze implementation of the deal in 2026 after Donald Trump called it an act of great stupidity. Around 2,000 Chagosians have been forcibly evacuated, between 1965 and 1973 to make way for the joint US-UK military base on Diego Garcia. Bancoult urges the United States to allow Chagosians to return, saying Diego Garcia is the only place where local people are barred from living alongside a US military base. Despite years of negotiations, no final agreement has been reached, while Chagosians continue to demand the right to return to their homeland.
On Chagos. Every time we have to tell our story to our children, to explain our children how life was. They have never been able to go to visit the place. And let me share with you, the youngest Chagosian is now 53 years old. And the oldest will be 100 years if God bless. You see? Why not respect the rights of the people? This is what we are asking. The most important is to allow Chagosian to return to live on their birthplace. We do understand it will not be possible for the time being on Diego Garcia, but on the other part, Chagosian can live. And we said that we have to make reparation for what we have been suffered for more than 58 years. Day by day, it becomes very embarrassing for UK government because the decision of the International Court of Justice was clear. The sovereignty is for Mauritius. It's not a decision by me. It's not a decision by any Chagosian. It was a decision by the highest court in the world who said that what had been done by UK is illegal, is not correct, and there is a violation of Charter of Human Rights. You cannot dismantle a territory before its independence. Based on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, who said clearly, no one shall be prevented to live on his birthplace. It should be clear for any nation. You should not allow people in some place to be eligible to something and another place is not eligible. This is not good. You should treat all people on the same level, equal opportunity. Live and let us live. We are a small people in front of a big power, but we have never given up. We say that, we believe, and we are proud today. We represent the hope of all displaced people, and to give them courage to say, never give up, continue your road, you will arrive to your destination.
The Ugandan government has dispatched emergency food aid to drought-hit communities in Karamoja after a prolonged dry spell devastated crops and triggered severe food shortages. The State Minister for Karamoja Affairs, Esther Anyaku, says Gabon district, where 19 hunger-related deaths have been reported, will receive the first aid deliveries. Karamoja is one of Uganda's poorest and most drought-prone regions, where many communities rely on rain-fed farming and livestock.
It is my honor, on behalf of the President, to flag off food, relief food, up to Karamoja, to the parish. This food is going up to the parish, for God and my country. Up to Karamoja. For God and my country.
The hunger started so much and it has hit so much Gabon district, and that's where we lost around 19 people. And then I think it is a number of people have not confirmed in Kotido. But those two, that's why you're saying the food is going to go to Gabon first, then it will be taken. Tomorrow I'll be in Kotido together with the Minister for Karamoja Affairs, and then after I'll go to Moroto. We want to save the lives of those people who are still there, because it is really in a very dire state to have this kind of thing. Because we didn't expect this. I don't think anybody was ready for this. The drought came surprisingly, but people had cultivated.
The president told me, please get in touch with your brother Mugira and your brother, the commissioner of prisons. They have food which can be supplied at relatively cheaper price. Indeed, NEC is supplying this at a very cheap price of 2,800 per kilogram of posho and 4,000 per kilogram of beans.
France's appeals court has upheld a 27-year prison sentence handed to former Rwandan Dr. Eugene Rwamusio over his role in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis in Rwanda. The 67-year-old was again found guilty of complicity in genocide, complicity in crimes against humanity, and for participating in a criminal conspiracy to prepare those crimes. However, he has been cleared of direct genocide and crimes against humanity charges. In October 2024, Rwamusio was sentenced to 27 years in prison under France's universal jurisdiction laws, which allow French courts to prosecute certain international crimes committed abroad. However, his lawyers have denied any wrongdoing, arguing that the accusations are politically motivated and stem from his opposition to the current Rwandan government. Senegal has officially thrown its support behind former President Macky Sall's bid to become the next United Nations Secretary General, marking a dramatic policy shift. The announcement comes just days after Sall met President Bassirou Faye during his first visit to Dakar since leaving office in 2024. Until now, Faye's government had refused to endorse Sall, accusing his administration of political repression and concealing economic data during his final years in power. Despite the history, the Foreign Ministry says President Faye has instructed Senegal's diplomatic missions worldwide to campaign for Sall's candidacy, calling it a bid that serves both Senegal and Africa. Earlier this year, Sall was nominated by Burundi, the current Africa Union chair. However, his return to Dakar also reignited criticism from opponents seeking accountability for the deadly unrest that marked his final years in office. Questions are, however, mounting over the prolonged absence of Cameroonian President Paul Biya, one of Africa's longest-serving leaders. It's been 44 days since President Biya left Cameroon on June 7 for what was described as a short private stay in Europe. The 93-year-old head of state has yet to return, fueling growing speculation about his whereabouts. There have also been allegations about the state of his health, while an opposition lawmaker has petitioned the Constitutional Council to declare the presidency vacant. The ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement has pushed back, insisting the government remains fully functional. According to reports, since President Biya's departure, official presidential social media accounts have continued to post messages on his behalf, including congratulating French President Emmanuel Macron on France's National Day and Montenegro's president on July 13. However, there have been no public appearances or direct update from the president himself. Several analysts say the Constitutional Council should act after 45 days, although no law sets a clear limit on how long the president may remain outside the country. And with no vice president in place, the debate over succession and institutional continuity is continuing to intensify. Gabon and France have signed an initial agreement on manganese during Gabonese President Brice Nguema's state visit to France. The strategic agreement follows talks between President Nguema and French President Emmanuel Macron, with discussions centered on strengthening political and economic cooperation, particularly in the manganese sector. Following the talks, French mining group Erame and the Gabonese government signed a memorandum of understanding outlining plans to process up to 700 kilotons of manganese ore annually in Gabon by the end of 2031. In a statement, President Nguema's office says the agreement will help generate greater added value within the country and support its industrialization. Both countries also signed agreements covering security as well as the water and energy sectors, marking what both sides describe as a new phase in Franco-Gabonese cooperation. Meanwhile, Paris is seeking more time to put the infrastructure needed to implement the manganese project in place. We're in South Sudan now, where women in the remote village of Bangolo in western Equatorial State are voicing concerns to the United Nations police officers about ongoing insecurity, inadequate health care and education, plus limited access to basic services that threaten their lives and livelihoods. The women say conflict in the region has displaced families, and for them, peace is measured in lives saved, not promises made. The United Nations police say women are among the community's strongest advocates for peace, stressing that listening to and responding to their concerns is key to strengthening protection efforts.
A woman is involved in negotiations, in making sure that there is peace. Indeed, many listen and they believe them. Yes, of course, they pose the insecurity challenges when they go in the bush to say they cannot do farming, they cannot do anything outside their homes. But UNMISS was there to come and report these things so that together and with the government of South Sudan, the best can be done to protect those women and children and also general civilians.
Finally, on the program, Africa's beauty and personal care industry is emerging as one of the continent's fastest growing consumer sectors, with the market estimated to be worth more than $10 billion and expected to continue expanding as demand for African-made products rises. However, despite the continent's rich natural ingredients and growing entrepreneurial talent, African brands still account for only a small share of the global beauty market, which was valued at nearly $600 billion in 2024. Our South Africa correspondent Innocent Samosa has been around town.
The beauty industry is one of the fastest growing sector globally, with increasing demand for African-inspired products and locally developed brands. Despite this growth, entrepreneurs say African businesses still face challenges. However, for Nigerian-born beauty entrepreneur Amaka Uzwamaka, South Africa has provided an opportunity to build a successful business while creating employment and contributing to the local economy.
I would say that beauty is my destiny, it's from childhood, and, the more I'm going, the more I'm learning, and I'm also teaching people.
She says greater collaboration between African countries could help strengthen the continent's beauty industry through investment, skills development, and easier cross-border trade.
The only thing I will say that Africa need to come together. They need to share. In terms of beauty, I would say that Nigeria is number one, you know. So in that case, we need to come together as one to collaborate so that we will have more opportunity, so that we will have more money and also more employment.
We also had the opportunity to speak to some of her South African employees who shared how working with her has helped them develop new skills and advance their careers.
I've been working here for like close to 5 years now, and I've learned a lot regarding beauty, how to be patient, and so on.
So what would you like to say about Madame and her skills, the skills that she taught you?
Oh, she has a lot of skills. We've learned a lot. I came here, I knew few things. I've learned how to be patient, how to communicate with clients. She loves beauty. She's into beauty, so I've learned a lot from her.
Since 2011, I have learned so much from her, beauty, everything.
I am taking everyone because we are here to make sure that everybody will have something doing. If I take you, I will teach you the skill you will do, and I will make sure that you will know it very well.
As Africa's beauty industry grows, entrepreneurs say collaboration, not competition, will be key to unlocking the continent's full potential. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
Here's our fun fact for the day before we go. Did you know that Cabo Verde is a group of 10 volcanic islands in the Atlantic Ocean and not in mainland Africa? It's about 600 kilometers west of Senegal. It is famous for its beaches, volcanic scenery, especially on Fogo Island, and Morna, a traditional music genre made famous by Grammy-winning singer Cesaria Evora. Well, that's Network Africa. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Ivani.